Yes, it's finally happened. My garden and chicken update have their own video and we're going to try it out and see how it goes. So if you're expecting the Sunday Musing, follow the link in the video description if you just want to see the Sunday Musing. But if you want to see my garden update, stick around because cool things are happening. We are in the greenhouse. We haven't managed to put the big greenhouse up yet and I'm kind of disappointed, but my tomatoes are looking really sorry for themselves. They need some potassium, as do my cucumbers. I know some of you noted that a couple of weeks back. I've been so busy running around and we haven't been able to get things on the ground. And what can I say? They are all suffering. Even my tomatillo is suffering. My peppers are suffering. But my geraniums are super happy. I don't know what I've done. I think neglect suits them well, but they are all doing just peachy fine and they are happy as Larry. I don't know how happy Larry is, but apparently he is a very happy guy. So I've been really busy this week. In fact, today has been my gardening day. I'm filming this on Saturday evening. We're about to get a massive heat dome event tomorrow. So I've been out in the garden trying to sort everything out. These are my parsnips. They are growing amazingly well. They still need some thinning out. Got too many together, but they are doing great. We've got some lettuce chilling out at the bottom, and this is kind of like a cut and come again style. So I come out every day and steal some leaves and go from there. My main crop of potatoes are doing incredibly well. These are my two main crops, and you might notice we've still got some green leaves, so they are still growing. There are huge numbers of potatoes. Let me tell you, I've had a little bit, as my mum said, I've had a puggle, and there are several potatoes just beneath the surface. And this plant, as you can see, super healthy and happy. So looks like it may have stopped flowering, but definitely many potatoes under both of these sets of soil. This here is a new thing I'm trying this year for the first time. So previously these were my early potatoes in here and here. And earlier today, as you can see, I've got soil underneath my peeling nails. I actually took out all of my early potatoes. So I had some Purple Majesty and I cannot remember the other potatoes. But anyway, I took them out of their little place and basically sifted through all of the soil, collected any potatoes that were remaining and then emptied these tubs out, emptied all the soil out, and I sent that soil and put it over in my compost pile on the other side of the garden. I then took some fresh compost from a different part of the compost pile and put in the tubs, so they're clean, they're fresh, they've been cleaned out, and then I've put some more potatoes in. Now they're not officially seed potatoes because I did try looking for some, but what I did end up doing instead was using some store-bought potatoes from my local garden centre, which also has like a little farmer's market attached. And they had some red potatoes and some white potatoes, or yellow potatoes, I think, and they were chitting. So I'm like, you know what, let's put them in and try. My hope is that we can keep adding soil and that we'll start to see some shoots in a couple of weeks, and I can get these potatoes ready for an October harvest. We shouldn't see too much in the way of frosts before October, touch wood, but there we go. My Christmas tree. This is why we're doing a separate video, because I can show you more of my cool things. My Christmas tree is doing really well. We bought this last year. It's a Alberta spruce, dwarf spruce. It has really, this is what it looked like over winter, and it is slowly greening back up, which is fantastic. My horseradish there, looking great. My rhubarb looking very unhappy indeed. Even though we had a really wet start to the year, what we've had now is, you know, a couple of weeks, in fact a month maybe more, of super dry weather, and it's meant that a lot of my fruit trees are just really unhappy. So this is one of my Gravenstein apple trees. It's my newest. It's got literally zero apples on it, although maybe there might be one growing there. If it is, it's going to be super late in the season. My cherry tree, my dwarf cherry tree, has not got a single cherry on it. it is doing very bad. I know I need to dig around the base of those and give them some extra stuff. The only apple tree I've got that actually has anything approaching fruit is this one here, which is another kind of 5-way apple tree. So it's got various different grafts on it. And we do have some apples coming on here, thank goodness. Right at the end of the garden, right over there by my pump house, I have another apple tree which we cut back very, very, very severely in the spring. And we did that because the apple tree was in a very bad state and it hadn't had much in the way of pruning over the years. And so, you know, we decided that what we would do would be that we would give it a bit of a haircut or bit of a shave or whatever you want to call it. And we would very carefully be looking after it and making sure that it was growing in a more appropriate way. We were able to cut out some branches that weren't doing so well, some that we felt could jeopardize the tree long term. And that's meant that we've had no fruit. But none of the cherry trees behind me have borne any fruit this year, and that's because we had a really nice start to the year. We then had, you know, a fairly normal sort of thinking about spring, plenty of wet weather, and then it got super cold, like super cold. We had snow the first week of April, and that basically killed off all of our fruit trees that were in flower, and they all kind of went back into hibernation and they didn't really recover. So that's badness. Really, that is badness. Over here, see, I've walked a long way around so you can see. Over here we've got my fava beans, my broad beans. They are coming along nicely. We've got so many beans on here at the moment. Let me show you. They're not staked up. And they got some water earlier, so they're a little bit unhappy about that. But also, we have so many peas hiding down here. I love peas, my wife loves peas. And these peas were in the ground that first week of April when we had all that heavy snow, which is why there's straw on the ground. There's also some carrots in there, but they didn't survive. There are a few, but they're not doing very well. But look at these. Look at these peas. Om nom 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 nom. So sweet. Raw peas, if you've never had raw peas before, try them. They are the best. So these are Oregon giant peas. We've got another couple of types of peas there. My garlic's doing okay. My herb garden is doing okay. They are doing great. And this is like my romaine cauliflower broccoli. And then we've got some broccoli that's collie that wants to go to seed, because the weather has been so hot and stuff that it's just wanted to go to seed. So this needs to be eaten very quickly, as does some of the broccoli. Now, I've given some to other team members. Michael took some home the other day, but my broccoli is getting to the same point. My celery's doing great. My sweet potatoes are very unhappy. They're not really growing very quickly, but I think that's just because they don't get a lot of sun here. But my sprouts are doing incredibly well. Now, I don't normally get sprouts. Every year I've had sprouts, they've been destroyed by aphids and blackfly and whitefly. This year is going to be different, because earlier on today I purchased some ladybirds that are now patrolling the garden. I think they've all disappeared into warm spaces for the night, but they plus the leeks, I think, are going to deter pests. I've really gone into companion planting this year, so this is a great example of companion planting. Forgive me, I've got some weeds growing that I haven't managed to dig up yet. That's on the cards for tomorrow, but these are beautiful and they taste good too. You could eat them. And these are right next to some of my beans, right here, which are thinking about producing some lovely beans for me. So my bean crop went in very late this year, and I've left the thistles because they've been infested by ants and greenfly, or blackfly in this case, and it's meant they've left other things in the garden alone. So the ladybirds are now munching on some of those, but other than that, you know, it's pretty good. I've had some strawberries from the back. Strawberries are doing really well. And the final thing, you know, left to talk to you about is, of course, the chickens. Now, as you know, my chickens have been on house arrest for what feels like an eternity because avian flu has been around, and I've not wanted to get any of my chickens ill. So I think we're going to start letting them back out again. I think the risk of avian flu in this part of the world is low enough that we can safely do that. And earlier today, I gave them some fresh bedding. So it's all very nice and fancy in there. Now, Gertie is one of my youngest hens. And Gertie is very, very broody. And she's sat up there because I'm blocking off the nest boxes because she does not wish to be anywhere but the nest boxes. You can see how she's puffed up. She wants to have little ones, and I keep taking all of the eggs away, and she's very unhappy about that. But we don't need any more. We don't need any more chickens right now. So I'm hoping to break her. Chickens tend to go broody like once a year, maybe twice a year. She's already gone broody twice since the start of June. So I'm hoping to break her pretty soon. And break her literally means encourage her that no, she doesn't need to sit on eggs. We've tried fake eggs. She doesn't want the fake eggs. She wants the real eggs. And she's got very, very skilled in convincing the other hens to lay an egg and then let her sit on them, which is kind of funny to watch, but obviously we don't need any more babies. We've got too many chickens already, and we're giving away eggs on a regular basis. So there you have it. That is my rambly garden update. I've got plenty of other things to talk about, but I'm not going to talk about those today. For example, my hostas are coming in. I need to dig up a large amount of mint on my front driveway, and I also need to work out what I'm going to do with some of my roses, as well as make sure that the grass doesn't go completely brown. We've tried not to cut it much this summer. I did cut it a couple of days ago, and you know, we're purposely cutting it long. We always do, and it's still not good enough, but it is good enough for snakes and other critters to hide in, so that's a good thing. And the front garden looks a lot better than it did when the previous owner, who used to use a ride-on lawnmower out the back where it's super steep and used to sculpt all of the grass. So we don't do that, at least. So there you go. Anyway, if you're wanting the actual Sunday musing, follow the link in the description below and we'll go to the proper Sunday musing. But as always, if you have been watching this video, thank you very much for supporting the channel. Don't forget that you can leave your thoughts below or in our free to join Discord chat room. There are links in the video description. And if you haven't already, please make sure you've subscribed to this channel, or even subscribed to this channel and our main channel, Transport Evolved, which I will leave a link to in the description. Thanks on behalf of the entire crew. Go to absolutely everyone who makes this channel possible. Sorry, I still have a pea in my mouth. And that includes everyone who supports us on Patreon and YouTube, as well as those of you who just watch and share the videos. If you are a supporter at the charged up level, you'll see your name here on my right. And if you have just started supporting the channel and you don't see your name, don't panic. Your name will appear. We render those lists out about once a week. Thanks to our self-driving tier supporters, Chris Maxwell, Pedro Mura Pinheiro, Patrick Boyarski, Bennett Elder, Brian Newton, Dave Kitchen, Michael Goad, Ricky Leon, Andrew Martin, Guido Dohotra, Bofi Wolf, Tazlet in the Gong, Gordon C, Stephen O'Donoghue, Carl Hodgson, Anthony Coates, Regine Fellows, Dan Blair, Jim Burness, Chris Centaur, Chris and Michael Johnson, Peter Dillinger and Denny Hyde. And of course, out of this world thanks to our Starman level supporters, Anonymous Freak, Marcel Ward, Reggie Watts, Rory Litwin, Joe Bresney, Reedar, JP Fagerback, Will, Graylin, Russ, Matthew Drobnak, Blue Says Hello, Kevin Boroughbridge, John Lyons, Andrew Glenn, Paul Conway, Laura Reynolds, Ellery Hensley, and of course, Ian. If you'd like to join that amazing list, you'll find links in the description below. And of course, you can support us through Patreon. You can support us by joining YouTube, or you can support us by following the links below to Ko-fi, Bitcoin, or by buying something from our cool swag store. I have had a thoroughly productive day. I have mucked out the chickens, I have dug up potatoes, replanted things, I have done a bit of tidying up in the vegetable plot, and I've also fixed my wife's gaming mouse, which Ghost managed to bite through completely. Like, completely bite through it. She has a really nice Death Adder gaming mouse, and he bit through it and it stopped working. So I got out my soldering iron earlier on and I managed to completely fix it, and it's now working, so yay! I'm going to go and have some leftover takeout and watch a movie with my darling wife. Thanks for joining me. Keep evolving.